Chapter 2. We arrive home expecting to start on our Valentine's for Will right away. What we hadn't planned on was arriving home to disaster. There's something wrong with the talking refrigerator, Dorinda called out to us from the kitchen, where she had gone with Jackie to make us a snack. Since Mommy had disappeared, it was Dorinda's job to prepare our food. We all raced in to see what she was talking about. Those looked like drops of some sort of clear liquid. They've made a puddle on the floor in front of the talking refrigerator, Marcia observed. There are so many of them. The talking refrigerator was one of the mommy's inventions. It told us when we were getting low on necessary food items or even luxury food items, and it always encouraged us to eat more. Dorinda crouched in front of the talking refrigerator. Then she put one of her fingers into the puddle and raised that finger toward her tongue. "Don't do it!" Zinnia shouted. "It could have been left there by the axe murderer," Petal shouted. "Are you crazy?" Georgia wondered. "It's her funeral," Rebecca harumphed. But it didn't matter what any of us shouted, wondered, or harumphed, for Dorinda at last touched her finger to her tongue. Then she tilted her head back, thinking. Tilt her head back. tilt는 기울이는 거지. 고개를 약간 뒤로 기울여서 생각했어. Tears, she decided at last. These drops are salty. They taste like tears. Salty could be good right around now, Annie said. I rather fancy a salty snack if you could come up with a healthy one. Well, let's see what we've got, Dorinda said, pulling open the door. But when the door was fully opened, rather than seeing the lovely array of food we were accustomed to, we saw, "Ew!" Dorinda shouted. "Everything is melting!" It was true. All our food had little droplets of water on it, like you get when you take a cold pitch from the crisper and put it somewhere warmer, like the counter. And we smelled something foul right away, too. The milk was starting to spoil. "What is going on?" Dorinda demanded. "And why isn't the refrigerator talking to us?" She had a point. Usually, by this time, the refrigerator would have said lots of things to us. But now, nothing. The talking refrigerator had gone silent. Then we noticed more liquid dripping from the top freezer, and Dorinda yanked open that door. Yank는 휙 잡아당기는 거야. 확 잡아서 열었지. The freezer was melting, and it wasn't just melting. When Dorinda opened the door, a river of melting ice came flooding out at us. We eight stood there, soaked, too shocked to say anything. Even Georgia and Rebecca were shut up by this. And then, into our stunned silence는 깜짝 놀라서 어이가 없어서 말을 못하는 거가 stunned silence. And then, into our stunned silence, entered a sound. It was the sound of someone or something sobbing. "I'm melting," the talking refrigerator gasped out between sobs. "What do you think is wrong with it?" Jackie asked, concerned. "I'm not sure," Marcia said, "but it sounds depressed." "What's wrong?" Dorinda asked the talking refrigerator directly. Since the kitchen was Dorinda's province, the rest of us were content to let her take over the refrigerator interrogation. Interrogation은 질문이고 content는 기꺼이 뭐뭐 하게 했지. Dorinda province. province는 뭐 주 이런 뜻인데 부엌이 Dorinda의 영역이라는 거지. Dorinda durinda 영역. durinda가 이제 뭐 요리하고 음식하고 하니까 her place it means like since the kitchen was durinda's province 걔가 있는 곳이니까 걔 거니까 걔 place니까 우리는 그냥 기꺼이 그녀가 우리 durinda가 refrigerator를 take over 하는 걸 기꺼이 이제 기꺼이 그렇게 하겠다는 거지. Carl is heartbroken, the talking refrigerator said. Who is Carl? Dorinda asked, perplexed. Perplexed는 되게 puzzled 된 거야. 당혹한 거야. 너무 당황하고 이해할 수 없는 뭐야? 뭔 말이야? 막 이런. Carl is me. The talking refrigerator cried. We all looked at one another. Carl? Carl? Jackie voiced all of our thoughts. But I always thought the talking refrigerator was a girl. It was true. We had all thought that. We shrugged our shoulders. Who knew? And why is our Carl heartbroken? Dorinda asked in a soothing tone. Soothing tone은 달래는 말투로 한 거니까 다시 읽어야겠네. And why is our Carl heartbroken? Because Carl is in love with Betty and Betty never even seems to notice Carl. Betty, like Carl, was one of our mother's inventions. She was a black and gold robot who was supposed to make our life easier by cleaning, but Betty seemed to have gotten her job description all wrong. As though to illustrate this, Betty came rolling through the room, used her pincer hands to throw a bag of dust rags. rag는 천이래. 천이고 in the air like so much confetti. confetti는 색종이 조각이고 rags는 해진 천. 약간 낡아가지고 해진 천이 rags고 confetti는 이렇게 종이 뭐 생일 파티나 이렇게 막 날리거나 막 이런 거 조그마한 거 이렇게 촥 하면 작가만한 색종이 조각들, confetti, 막 풍선 안에 막 들어가 있고 막 이런 거 있잖아. And then rolled back out again. Betty came rolling through the room, used her pincer hands to throw a bag of dust rags in the air like so much confetti, and then rolled back out again. And as though to prove Carl's point, she completely disregarded, 무시해버렸어, Carl, when he shouted after her, Betty, like some t-shirt wearing maniac in the rain outside a building in the south or something. maniac은 우리나라 말로 매니아 어떤 거에 되게 막 좋아하는 거 미치광이라고도 하고 광적으로 되게 엄청 좋아하는 거. There, Carl Dorinda soothed, looking for the proper place to catch Carl. It will be all right. No, it won't, Carl said. Valentine's Day is coming. I don't even want to leave, and I don't see how I can properly concentrate on keeping food cold if I can't have Betty. Apparently, the prospect of Valentine's Day had the whole world going bonkers. bonkers는 제정신이 아닌 거, 완전 제정신이 아닌 거. 발렌타인이 데이가 whole world going bonkers. 제정신이 아니게 되는 거야. There, Dorinda said again. It will all work out. 다 잘 될 거야. work out은 잘 되는 거, 일이 잘 풀리는 거. 잘 될 거야. But how? Georgia demanded. We'll all starve, Paddle said. First, we became orphans, and now we're going to be starving orphans. I'll bet Carl could win Betty's heart, Zinnia said, if he thought he bought her a really great present. I wonder if a new refrigerator is in our budget, Annie wondered. Perhaps I should just go look at the checkbook. Don't you dare. It was amazing to hear Dorinda speak so harshly to Annie. But we suppose that having the talking refrigerator melt from love before your very eyes when your domain is the kitchen could be disturbing. It will all work out. No one will starve. Now, everyone expect Jackie, shoo. I've got to figure out what to make for dinner since we've wasted so much of the afternoon on love that snack time is long gone. While Dorinda and Jackie set about finding something to make for dinner that did not require foods that had been properly refrigerated, the rest of us set to work making valentines for Will. Dorinda and Jackie would get their crack at the art supplies after they served us dinner. We gathered together all the craft supplies we could find: construction paper, scissors, markers, glitters, feathers, sequins, 스팽글즈 같은 거를 sequens라고 하나 봐. paste, 풀. Of those items, Georgia loved the paste best. Rebecca loved the scissors, which she liked to run with, while Petal and Xenia fought continually over the glitter, feathers, and sequins. Marcia was happy as long as she had a little bit of everything, and Annie was happy if we didn't kill one another and left her in peace. You might think it's strange that we could devote so much time to worrying about Valentine competitions and the love life of a talking refrigerator when our parents were missing or dead. But you must realize our parents had been missing for more than a month. We had no idea where to look for them. It took much of our energy each day merely to survive, get the grocery shopping done, keep ourselves and our 8 cats fed and cleaned, learn how to drive cars and pay bills, all while keeping the outside adult world from realizing that there are 8 kids home alone. And so it was impossible to remain sad and worried every second of the day. So we cut, colored, glittered, and pasted little bits of feathers and sequins all over one another until it was time for Dorinda to call us in to dinner. After all our handy dandy artwork, we were positively famished. Positively는 아주 분명히, positively, 뭐 좋게 긍정적으로 한 뜻도 있지만 여기서는 분명히 we were 분명히 famished. starving이란 뜻이지 famished. 우리는 진짜 배고팠어 이런 거야. 다 handy dandy artwork가 끝나고 after all our handy dandy artwork, we were positively famished. Definitely starving 이런 뜻이겠지. Before dinner, we collected Daddy Sparky and Mommy Sally from the drawing room and set them up in the dining area. Daddy Sparky was a suit of armor. Mommy Sally was a dressmaker's dummy. Not long after Mommy and Daddy disappeared or died, we dressed Sparky and Sally as our parents so that if noisy neighbors like the wicket peeked in은 엿보는 거지. Like the wicket peeked in, they would think our parents were home. At meal times now, we like to keep them in the room with us. It felt like having real parents, except they couldn't talk, which was sometimes a good feature for a parent to have. As we settled at our places around the dining room table, after following Annie's instructions to wash our hands first, we were anticipating a satisfying meal. anticipate는 예상하는 거야. 그래서 satisfy며 아주 만족스러운 식사를 기대하고 있었어. 예상하고 있었지. Perhaps it will be spaghetti and meatballs, or maybe something truly spectacular like the Thanksgiving-style dinner Dorinda and Jackie threw together once for a celebration. It was all we could do to keep from rubbing our hands together in glee, 아주 신이 나서 glee and salivating. salivate는 침을 흘리는 거야. 너무 막 먹고 싶을 때 우리 군침 돌잖아, 그치? 그런 거. salivating like dogs as Jackie held open the swinging doors for Dorinda and Dorinda entered with a silver platter. silver platter는 접시. 음식을 차려내는 데 쓰는 큰 서비스 서빙용 큰 그릇 with a silver platter piled high with peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Georgia Fishwifed as Dorinda set the platter down in the middle of the table. Fishwife는 옛날에 이제 물고기를 파는 남자의 와이프라는 뜻인데 말과 행동이 굉장히 거친 여자를 fishwife라 그래요. 왜냐면은 생선이 썩기 전에 빨리 팔아야 되기 때문에 엄청 말과 행동을 거치게 이제 했다라는 데서 유래가 된 것 같아. 그래서 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, Georgia fishwife as Dorinda set the platter down in the middle of the table. You expect us to eat that for dinner? I think I'm feeling a nut allergy coming on, Petal said wearily. You don't have nut allergies, Annie pointed out. This is wretched. 이건 너무 형편없어, wretched. 형편없는 거. Rebecca said, picking up one of the sandwiches and then throwing it down again in disgust. What were you two doing in the kitchen all this time? It doesn't take that long to make wretched sandwiches. Jackie blushed. 얼굴이 빨개졌어, Jackie가. We were working on sketching out plans for our own Valentine's Day cards for Will. We didn't want to fall behind. 아니 샌드위치 만드는데 뭐 이렇게 시간이 오래 걸린 거야? 그랬더니 이제 제키가 윌한테 줄 발렌타인 카드를 생각하고 있었던 거야. 우리 fall behind. 우리 뒤처지고 싶지 않았거든. 우리도 음식 준비한다고 막 우리는 준비 못하고 막 그러고 싶지 않았거든. 뭐 이런 얘기겠지. Do you have an idea? Dorinda said. How hard it is to keep this family fat every day? 너 생각이나 해봤어? 너 혹시 아니? 얼마나 힘든지 지금 이렇게 이 가족들을 매일같이 먹이는 게 얼마나 힘든지 알아? 이런 얘기지. How hard it is to keep this family fed every day? How much energy it takes? And do you have any idea how hard it is to find something to prepare that is safe and nutritious but doesn't require refrigeration? You are all just lucky I don't quit. You are all just lucky I don't quit. 내가 그만두지 않는 걸 정말 운 좋게 생각해. 운 좋은 거야. You're lucky. You're all just lucky I don't quit. Dorinda was so angry she was tapping her hand against her leg. We'll all really starve, Petal said, not noticing how angry Dorinda was getting. It will be awful. They will find our skinny bodies in the gutter. Gutter는 시궁창. 그러니까 몹시 더럽거나 썩어 빠진 환경을 시궁창이라고 하는데 이제 이런 거 먹고 몸이 삐쩍 말라는데 gutter 시궁창에 있는 우리 몸을 발견할 거야. 형편없다 뭐 이런 얘기겠지 밥이. Later we would think we all should have paid more attention to how angry Dinda was. The kid may be whiny. whiny는 투덜대고 불평하는 거지. The kid may be whiny, Georgia said of Paddle, but she doesn't make a good point. We'll starve if we have to eat PBJs at every meal. PBJs는 peanut butter with jelly를 PBJ라고 해. We do get hot lunches at school. hot lunch는 이제 학교에서 점심 급식을 시켜 먹는 게 hot lunch라고 하더라고. 그래서 we do get hot lunches at school, Annie pointed out. Doesn't matter, Georgia said. It will still be PBJs twice a day on weekends and every meal on weekends. It will still be PBJs twice a day on weekdays and every meal on weekends. I'll go on a hunger strike, Rebecca threatened. We all will. It's inhuman to give us. 이건 너무 인간적이지 않아. It's inhuman to give us. And that's when it happened. Dorinda, in her anger, patted her right hand against her leg 3 times, then pointed sharply at Georgia as though her finger were a gun. You shut up. Who knew Dorinda had so much anger in her? Perhaps it was because she had to cook for us all the time. Then Dorinda turned slightly and did the same to Rebecca. 3 leg pats, sharp point. You shut up. And Georgia and Rebecca froze right where they sat in their chairs, both with their mouths open as though they had been about to say something, probably something awful, and now couldn't. They couldn't because they were frozen solid, like statues. 동상처럼 얼어버렸네.